All right, welcome to the Health Ranger Report and the 15 most successful businesses that you can run in a post-collapse scenario. Now, why would you need to run a business in a post-collapse scenario? Well, the simple answer, I'll just cut right to it, is basically so you don't have to whore yourself out or give blowjobs in order to get some food, right? Let's just get right down to it. If you're hungry or thirsty or you need some shelter, you're going to have to trade something for it or build it yourself. You can grow food yourself. That's a skill. That's a business. You can produce extra food. You can barter it for other things that you need, like first aid supplies, let's say. Or you can build shelter for yourself. You can build shelter for others and get paid for it, possibly in food. But you don't want to end up with no skills that translate into the real world when a collapse happens. Because if your skills are, let's say, attracting the most likes on a Facebook post, or your skills are how to write really complex JavaScript, or your skills are how to create the most interesting poses for my Snapchat photos, then you're going to be absolutely clueless when the lights go out, when there's an EMP weapon attack, when the power grid fails or whatever, the pandemic takes over, quarantine, water shortage, food shortage, environmental collapse, crop failures, you name it, you're going to be just out of luck, basically. So you got to have some skills that matter in the real world. And here are 15 businesses that you can run in a collapse if you have the skills. So obviously it's a good idea to invest in some of these skills ahead of time. And there are more than 15, obviously. This is just 15 that came to mind for me as I was preparing for this segment. I just typed these in, wrote them down. Number one, you can grow food in a hydroponic system. You can mass produce hydroponic food, even indoors, obviously, as long as you have electricity and water and some fertilizer and so on. You can then obviously sell that food or trade that food, barter it for gold or silver or ammo or whatever you need. Number two, you can provide medical care. You know, doctors are always going to be useful if they have real skills and aren't just drug pushers. So if you're a doctor and all you do is you listen to somebody's symptoms and then you have a chart in your pocket that says prescribe a statin drug, prescribe a psychiatric drug, prescribe a blood pressure drug, you're not very useful, all right? And besides, you're probably not going to be able to get those drugs in a collapse. And I think, by the way, even more useful than having medical skills is having dental skills, because, man, when people are in pain with their teeth, they'll do anything to get out of pain. If you know ditch dental medicine, you're going to be one of the most valuable people in society, believe me. And also, of course, first aid and paramedic type of skills, you know, trauma care, emergency room type stuff, that's very valuable in a collapse scenario. So any kind of hands-on medicine is going to be a great skill. Number three is growing and distilling essential oils into herbal medicines. Did you know you can make your own medicines? Well, of course you can if you can grow plants. Plants are the earliest and most popular medicines in the world. All of medicine was founded on botany. That's the origin of it. And the medicinal herbs out there are so easy to grow, or many of them are. You can grow basil, you can grow oregano, you can grow mint, you can grow garlic, you can grow onions, whatever. And you can distill those into essential oils with just some heat, basically. If you have a distillation setup, which you can buy for about maybe a little under $1,000, and if you can apply heat, even just fire to it in the future, you can distill medicines from herbs that you grow yourself. And that's very valuable. You could literally make your own medicine chest. You think that'll be valuable in a collapse scenario? You're damn right it will be. Especially when people can't get to the pharmacy, they can't get antibiotics, they can't get to the hospital, or maybe the hospital is the place where the pandemic is spreading. You know, Ebola, phase 2. You don't want to go to the hospital. Maybe the healthcare workers have all been killed by the pandemic. That's what happened in Africa. So who knows? But if you've got a backup way to grow medicine, you're going to be much better off. Number four, shoe repair and clothing repair. Now, I know it seems crazy because you live in a society today that's a throwaway society. You wear your shoes for a little while and then you chuck them into the landfill and then you go buy another pair. That's not the way most of humanity has lived throughout human history, by the way. They fix things. Whoa, I know, it's a strange alien concept, but they actually repaired their shoes. or their sandals or what have you. So if you know how to repair shoes, well, that'd be a pretty darn good business in a post-collapse scenario. And also to repair clothing, to sew patches onto clothing, to fix broken buttons and snaps and zippers. That's a skill. That's a barterable skill. And especially if you have a sewing machine that is pedal powered, you just use your foot. I think it's called a treadle. And you don't even need electricity. That's something really special. You should go out and maybe try to find some of that at I don't know, estate sales or, I don't know, places that sell antiques maybe would have things like that. I mean, that's what I would want. I want a sewing machine that you power with your foot. There you go. Number 5, firearms repair and gunsmithing. Well, obviously, in a collapse scenario, gunsmithing is going to be a very valuable skill. Everybody's going to need some form of self-defense or community defense for that matter. So if you know how to fix guns or even advanced gunsmithing, put on a pair of new sights or a scope or sight in a rifle for somebody who doesn't know how to do it, or, I don't know, add on something to the rifle, something functional. Let me check. Let me look over here at my rifle and see, what am I missing? What would be great here? A PVS-14, how about that? Throw a night vision monocular on that rifle. That'd be interesting. How about throwing a red dot sight on there? I got a, what do I have on there right now? Ooh. All right, I have an ACOG sight on there. Never mind, that's probably not something that's going to be that common. Nevertheless, if you can throw stuff on the rifles and sight them in and make them work, you're going to have a lot of good business. All right, number 6, delivery and smuggling. If you think about a post-collapse scenario, people still need to move goods around and they need to deliver the mail. Wasn't Kevin Costner in a film about that? He was the mailman, the postman, that's what it was called. A post-collapse postman, yeah. Well, people do need things delivered, and more importantly, people need things smuggled, right? Because in every collapse, there's sort of a tribal breakdown. Little local gangs tend to run the place, and you might want to smuggle something into the gang area or out of the gang area. You might need to smuggle, guns and weapons out, or maybe an innocent victim of the gang. You might need to hide that person and smuggle them out, and that's a valuable skill. If you know how to smuggle people out to save them, there are people willing to pay you, especially family members, right? If you save their child, let's say, from a crazy gang, yeah, there'd probably be a reward or something. So that's a skill that you can use to save lives and perhaps deliver important medical supplies. You could be like Han Solo in Star Wars. He's an intergalactic smuggler. And you can smuggle for good. Doesn't mean you're a criminal. You can smuggle good things in for people, supplies that they need, for example. So that's a valuable skill. Whew, I better move along here. Number 7 is bicycle repair. I already mentioned that earlier. But that's a big one because without fuels, a lot of people will need human-powered vehicles, which comes down to bicycles and tricycles and quadricycles. And they're all human-powered, so they're all derivatives of basic bicycle technology, chains and gears and shifters and so on, inner tubes and tires and rims and spokes. If you've got skills to deal with that, you're going to be in high demand. Number 8 is money storage and exchange. If you can store people's money safely to where they can get it back out, you can actually charge a fee for that. I know you think that that's what banks do, but that's not what banks do. Banks take your money and then give it to someone else. I'm talking about actually storing your money and keeping it safe so that everybody can come get their deposits back. That would be really something. And that's a valuable business. Number 9, animal ranching and animal food processing, which means, by the way, slaughtering the animals into edible meats. It's not something I would want to do, but let's be honest, that would be a very valuable skill because there are a lot of people out there who want to eat steaks and ribs and so on, and they're willing to pay for that. And in a survival scenario, there are going to be a lot of hungry people out there. So If you know how to raise cattle, then that could be a way to earn a living in a post-collapse economy. Number 10 is security. So if you can provide security, then you have a valuable skill. If you're good with perimeter defense, if you're good with gun combat, rifle, pistol, shotgun, if you're good at night perimeter patrols or tactical defense of a fixed area, for example, that could be a really valuable skill. Everybody needs security. Nobody wants to be raided by a gang or a bunch of outlaws, hungry zombie gangs coming at you. What do? You should have a defense plan, and the people who can put those plans together have a valuable skill. So if you have a skill like that, you could perhaps trade security for room and board. Maybe you're a young guy with a rifle and some military experience. You could maybe find a farm where they've got food, and you can say, look, I'll protect you. I'll do the security. You give me room and board. Hey, deal. That could be a very good deal that works out great for both sides. Anyway, I'll continue this in part 2 after this break, so stay with me here. This is the Health Ranger Report on TalkNetwork.com. Well, thank you for listening to this episode of the Health Ranger Report. Please support us by visiting our online store at store.naturalnews.com, where you can find the world's cleanest, laboratory-validated superfoods, nutritional supplements, personal care products, shampoo, chemical-free products, just about everything for your home and body and health that you might want, including supplements for your pets as well. Everything is laboratory-validated in our forensic food lab, and we don't sell something unless it tests clean. I think we're the only online reseller to do this really extensive testing of everything that we sell. If we don't like the lab test results, meaning if it's not really, really clean, including with heavy metals, then we don't sell it, period. We have free shipping on orders over $99 and a satisfaction guarantee on everything that we offer. So check us out now at store.naturalnews.com, and thank you for your support.